What's up guys, I'm Daniel de Groot. I'm a European and Brazilian no-gi champion. In this series we'll work on the guard retention. Alright, so welcome to the second video in our series about guard retention. Last week we talked about the most important concepts. You can find the video right here or here. And this week we'll talk about the mindset you need to have when you're retaining your guard and the physical attributes that can help when you're retaining your guard. So the first thing you have to realize is that guard retention is temporary. It's not something you can keep doing because you're in a relatively bad position. Your opponent has gravity on his side, so eventually he's going to tire you out and he's going to be able to pass your guard. So for example, Bart lies down and he's on the ground and I have gravity with me. So I keep attacking, Bart starts defending his guard, but the whole time he's going to have to carry my weight. Here, I'm pushing into him and he's bench pressing me off. This is costing me 0 power, I'm just leaning into his arms and he's pushing me off. Switching to other sides here, he's still pushing me off, carrying my weight, I'm not spending so much energy. So eventually, when you're fighting somebody relatively close to your own skill, you're going to be able to find an opening through that gap and you're going to pass your guard. So your goal is, when you're defending your guard, to retain and from there start setting up your attack. So let's say Bart has some guard, some passing, I'm going to be able to retain my guard. He tries to pass, but as soon as I can, I want to lock him up in a guard where I'm comfortable, like half guard with a wrap around his leg. So you don't want to see guard retention as something you want to do. It's defending, you're retaining your guard, you're not attacking. So as soon as you can, you want to lock your opponent up and start playing a guard that you're comfortable with. You don't want to play guard retention the whole time. Another concept that's really important that I'm telling a lot, especially to my competitors, is that you really need to hate the pass. You don't want to get your guard passed. Sometimes I'm a little bit more upset with people passing my guard than I am with getting submitted. So a lot of it is mental as well. If you really think your guard is impassable, it's probably not going to get past. So you really want to fight until the last inch to retain your guard. So let's say Bart is passing my guard here. I'm fighting, even if he gets past it, I'm still going to fight him. Like until the last second. I don't just give up when he gets past my knee line or past my hips. I'm still going to fight until the end. That's a really important thing. So especially when you get a little bit more comfortable with the techniques we're going to show in this series, try to use that mindset as well. If you think your guard is impassable, it will get way harder to pass. So don't just give in when somebody passes your first line of defense. There's still a lot of ways you can still recover from it. So for the following videos in this series, we're going to look at individual guard passes. So there's no one secret to guard retention. Of course, we talked about the most important concepts, but every guard pass has a different approach. And it's important that you want to stop the guard pass as soon as possible. I remember I was at a Felipe Costa seminar once, and I don't think the quote is his, but he used it when somebody asked, how do I escape from the mount? And it's just basically, you messed up a long time ago. You shouldn't have gotten taken down, you shouldn't have gotten your guard passed, you shouldn't have gotten mounted. That's where you should have prevented the problems. But the same with guard passing. Even though you think like, like this, you might end up in this situation and you think, okay, how to escape this situation? But you messed up a long time ago here. You don't want the person to get in this situation. Here it's going to be really, really, really hard to escape. You're pointed all the way to the other side of your opponent. Your opponent is past your knees, past your feet. It's really hard to escape from here. So your leg drag should have been avoided a long time ago. For example, with the leg drag, if Bart tries to drag my leg across, if I just hook his foot here, it's going to be way harder for him. So I know when I was a little bit more beginning in Jiu-Jitsu, I always try to find like the solution to the latest stage because that's what you remember most of the role. But you should try to find the solution to the earlier stage. So you want to prevent the guard passes, you don't want to defend in the late stage. Still, we're going to discuss early, middle and late stage defenses, but really try to focus on the prevention. That's how high level guys do it. They don't get in the best situations, they prevent it or they stop it early. Okay. So one thing I hear a lot about guard retention is that you need to be flexible for it. And personally, for my guard retention system, it does help. So the things that I do, it really helps to be flexible. So let's use a Toriado for example. Let's look for Toriado pass. It really helps that I can easily throw my foot over and start retaining from here. But if you're not so flexible, there's still a lot of good ways to retain your guard. But instead of your leg work, you're going to be a little bit more reliant on sitting up. So let's say Bart does the same passage. Here, instead of throwing my leg over, maybe I'm not so flexible, I'm going to sit up. So he passes my guard, I'm going to sit up and try to escape that way. So even if you're not so flexible, if you're not so good with the leg agility, there's still a lot of ways to retain your guard. So the main methods of later stage retention are leg work, but also sitting up. Okay, so that's a little bit about the mindset for retaining your guard, but there's two physical aspects that are also really important, and those are your flexibility, like I said before. So the main thing, like, you don't need to be able to touch your toes or like hold your hands behind your head. I'm not very flexible in those kind of ways, but the goal is that you want to be flexible in your hip extension, I think. Hip external rotation. So you want to be able to like bring your toes to your nose, and that's the main method of retaining your guard. Like, it doesn't matter if you have flexible hamstrings or shoulders or neck or whatever, but if you're quite flexible with the external rotation of your hips, you're gonna be good. And some ways you can do that is by the pigeon stretch. So you're gonna point your knee a little bit forward, your foot a little bit back. You're gonna lean into your hips here. You can start with your hands up, and then when you get more flexible, put your elbows on the ground, and then if you get flexible enough, you can start putting your chest on the ground. Another thing that's important to remind when you're doing anything to do with flexibility in Jiu-Jitsu is that you want to use speed. So if I try to bring my foot to my nose slowly, it's really hard. But if I do it fast, I get a lot closer. I always show it like this with touching your toes. So if I want to touch my toes, I'm not very flexible in my hamstrings, and I go slow here, I can like touch my fingertips, but not so much more. But if I go fast, I can actually touch my whole hand palm on the mat. Here. Same with the leg. So if you try to retain your guard, this is the example with Bart. He tries to pass my guard here. If I go really slow and try to bring my foot over, it's going to be super hard. But if I just throw it in one time, it's way easier. So even when you're not so flexible, this concept can help a lot. The other physical attribute that you need is the ability to bring your knees close to your chest. So you can do hanging leg raises, for example, where you hold a pull-up bar and then bring your legs up. If you don't have those, you can do it at home like this. So you're gonna lie down and bring your feet in the air. There. So you're training your body's ability to bring your knees close to your chest. It's a little bit of abs and a little bit of hip flexor work. It's a really good ability to have. So like I said in the last video, you want to keep your knees close to your chest. And if you're strong in that motion, it's going to be harder for your opponent. So it's not just a technique, it's actually something you need to train physically. Alright guys, that's it for this week. So we talked about the mindset and the physical attributes you need to have a good guard retention and to have a good open guard. In the next videos, we're going to work a little bit more on defending individual passes. So we're going to work on passes that are high percentage. So the passes that you see on a high level. I don't want to work on like crazy passes that you don't see very often. Maybe one guy in the gym hits it. Maybe maybe you're lucky and we do discuss it. But most of the passes we're going to focus on are going to be high percentage passes that happen a lot. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Leave a like, leave a comment. And when you subscribe, make sure to hit the notification bell so you can see when the next video about this subject comes out. See you next time.